I need this beef all season. I need the next 3 weeks. I need Keanu, Rachel, and Ashley in here. They gotta at least make top four. Top four. The ending chef's kiss. Chef's kiss. Rachel and Ashley as a duo. If they have a duo season in the future, they gotta come back. Gotta come back. But this was a good episode. Good episode. Thumbs up the video if you are new here, and if you're not new here, you already know what the drill is. But if you're new, hit subscribe. Do it right now. Do it right now. We almost done with the season. We get ready to pick it up into high gear. As we all know, we got 3 more weeks left. Well, 4 more weeks, but 3 more weeks. We got double evictions probably coming. We got triple evictions probably coming. So it's about to get crazy. And the key players need to stay. We need the key players to the end, but we got 3 key players that are at the end of the episode still on the block. But we'll get to it. But like I said, let's go because we got a lot to talk about. Let's go. All right, I'm still laughing at the end of that episode. Boy, Rachel and Ashley. But we get after the nominations. Keanu pretty much states that Mickey's a strong player, but he wants Morgan out. Obviously, he wants Morgan out to be able to control Vince because she has so much influence over Vince that at that point he can't really get what he wants out of Vince until she's gone, and then maybe they can work. But Morgan thinks that he targeted her because she threw him under the bus to Rachel. No, he's targeting you so he can get control over Vince. But Mickey, she's not surprised, but she's not a yes man, and she feels like Keanu is allergic to logic. Like I told y'all, Mickey's DRs they're gold. They're gold. They're gold. It's the delivery. It's the way she delivers what she says. It just hits every time. And I'm going to be sad if she ends up going home tomorrow. But Vince, same old shit that he always does. But Will, he's pretty much stating that he's good with Keanu, but he just didn't see Vince going up. Like, that was crazy because that's your ally, but it was good cinema. And it was, like, this episode was cinema. But Keanu, he's in the storage room with Rachel. And she's checking in on him, asking if he needs a hug. He says yes, they hug. And she thanks him for keeping her safe, obviously. And he then tells her that he doesn't want Vince to go home, but he needed to make an example. Basically, I needed to prove to him, you doing too much. At this point, you basically making it seem like I'm expendable to you. I'm going to show you right now you expendable to me. But Rachel ends up asking, like, who do you prefer go home? Morgan? Like, do you think Morgan should go home? And he's like, yeah. Rachel loves that she's not even being nominated at this point, but she didn't forget the fact that he's been trying to get her out. And she's not going to forget that. Why would she? Rachel's not stupid. But she's like, we're working on baby steps right now with working together. But Kelly, she's checking in on Vince now, who's doing his normal thing. And he's stating that it sucks that Keanu put him up. And Kelly was like, I mean, I'm indifferent. She's not telling him this. She's telling us. She's like, I'm indifferent about the nominations, but I don't care who of the 3 go, which I found interesting. Kelly, not a fan of her at all. Not especially after what she did, I think it was yesterday, calling Mickey and Ashley monkeys on the feeds. No. But this is the first episode where she's actually thought with logic. Like the first episode. But Keanu comes in and hugs Vince. They're both, Vince is crying, but he's stating that there's no hard feelings. Well, yeah, Keanu is crying at this point. His eyes are like, you can tell his eyes, he's been crying. But Keanu states that I can't keep turning a blind eye to somebody who's supposed to be working with me, doing me wrong, basically stating that's why you're up there. But Vince is like, I mean, I understand this is the way the cards fell based on my decisions. Duh. But Keanu's sitting there crying, stating that he hopes that Vince stays and they can do what they plan going forward. And then tells us that he wants to teach him a lesson, basically make sure that also to make sure that he doesn't use the veto on Morgan, because he don't trust that if Vince was off the block, he got chosen to play in the veto and he won the veto, that he wouldn't take Morgan off the block. Obviously, we all know that there was a strong possibility that he would. So we then get this scene of Ashley and Ava in the bathroom praise dancing. They geeked about not even being nominated. And Ava's sitting there talking about praise the Lord. And she's like, I'm happy that I'm not on the block during Keanu's HOH. And she loves the fact that Vince is on the block. Like, I'm not on it, but Vince is on the block on his boys' HOH. They in there praise dancing, happy and shit. Hilarious. But Keanu, and it was funny too, because on the feed, she's talking about Julie, we going to church. Like, y'all know how Julie get down. But Keanu and Mickey, they're in the HOH room. And he was like, he says that he had just questioned he was questioning if Mickey would actually put him up. And she's like, I mean, I can't tell you what to do with your own game, like, even though I feel like others would do the same as well, obviously. But he obviously knows that Mickey is the biggest threat, one of the biggest threats to his game. But Keanu states, like, you're a gamer, you have every opportunity to take yourself off the block. Mickey says that she don't think that she's going home on his HOH. Like I told y'all, she's delusional. She's a good villain because she's got a sense of delusion, but she somehow finds a way to win, which I hope she does win the blockbuster. But she always finds a way to win. She didn't hear, but she always finds a way to win. But she's funny. Like I told you, she's a good villain because she's actually funny. Like, she's funny. Her delusion is hilarious. But she states that she don't feel like she's going home on his HOH, which is a strong possibility she could. But she's manifesting him going home on hers next week. She's assuming that she's going to win next week. This is the delusion I'm talking about. But Mickey goes to tell Rachel, Ashley, and Will that she's fine. Like, we'll be fine. Like, I feel like I'm going to be fine. And they're talking about, like, playing in the veto and pretty much taking her off the block. And Mickey says that she's been fostering these relationships while Morgan's been all up under Vince. She ain't lying. Because Morgan ain't really doing, well, even though she's trying to get on the other side of the house now, but Morgan ain't really working on them relationships like Mickey is. Mickey actually was working on them relationships this week, even though the last couple of days on the feeds. But Mickey states that she knows for a fact that one of them would pull her down. I said, here we go with the delusion. But Ashley tells us that Mickey is a huge shield for her. Like, I love her personally. She's a big shield for me. And even though the noms essentially got to stay the same, basically, she don't want to go up on the block. Ashley's not stupid. Ashley knows what is right and wrong in the game. She wants to keep Mickey there, but she's not going to take Mickey. Well, no, she's not, because that's a strong possibility that Rachel could go up or Will could go up. So she knows at the end of the day, her stronger allies are Rachel and Will. So I would leave Mickey up there too, honestly. But Vince and Morgan, they're both in the have-not room crying about being nominated together and pepping each other up. Morgan's upset because she's a D1 track athlete and a gamer and she can't win shit. We'll get to it. But Morgan and Keanu, they're in the HOH room now, and she pretty much states that she wants to work on getting Keanu to not target her and possibly want to work with her like she did with Rachel, like how Rachel put her up on the block, and then 2 weeks later she's working with Rachel. She wants to do that with Keanu. But he tells her, like, a part of him feels like they can work together, but he just don't know at this point. Obviously, he ain't gonna tell her, I want you out right now. But he later does. But she then starts talking about how she wants Vince to stay. And he says, like, obviously, I don't want him to go. And she was like, okay, so do you want me to go home? And he says, I mean, I'd be lying to you if I told you that I didn't prefer for you to go. But I feel like we can kind of salvage something. He tells us that he doesn't want her. He doesn't want her to win because she basically threw him under the bus. She threw him under the bus, and Vince is too loyal to her. So obviously, he wants her to go home. But Rachel, we got a Rachel working out segment, and she shaded the fuck out of Lauren in this, and I hollered laughing. She's pretty much talking about, like, she's giving you tips on how to work out in the house, and she's talking about her tips on endurance is like, what did she say? It was something in terms of, like, waiting on Lauren to speak, because you know how Lauren talks. She takes forever to get a sentence out. And she's talking about, like, you can practice endurance while waiting to listen to her finish a sentence. But Keanu and Kelly, they're in the storage room, talking about how ideally he would want Vince to stay. And he feels like he learned his lesson. So basically he wants to take him off the block now. And he wants Kelly to be on the same page with him. She ain't, but we'll get to it. But Kelly states like Keanu, she tells us that Keanu is her closest ally, but she's not playing his game. I feel you. Like I told you, I don't like her, but she was everything she said this episode made sense. Because that would be me. Like, I understand what you're trying to do for you, but like, he done burnt. And like I'm about to say, Vince done burnt her 50 times. Like, why the fuck would she take him off the block? I wouldn't either. Shit, you can go home. But Keanu, he's not filling Lauren in on the plan too. Obviously, Lauren is easier to get that shit to go for. But Keanu then states that he wants to use it to make sure that he, Kelly, Lauren, and Vince can work together going forward while he manages his relationship with Rachel. So he wants to be good with his side of the house, but also still have Rachel. So Keanu then tells Vince to pick Kelly or Lauren because basically it's 4 of us that will be against the other 2 to make sure that you get off the block, because you basically have 4 options that would actually take you off the block. Honestly, you only have 3 because Kelly ain't taking him off the block. But Vince, obviously, he's now starting to feel better about his chances of actually staying because he feels like he has 3 people actually playing to keep him off the block. But we get a scene of Mickey and Rachel, and they're talking about having to fight hard for the veto. We got to win at this point because we want to keep Mickey safe and make sure that none of us go up. But Rachel pretty much states that she doesn't want Ashley to go up, though. And Mickey's like, yeah, that would be horrible. And Rachel's also concerned about possibly being a backdoor. Even though Keanu's telling her, I'm not putting you up, Rachel's not dumb. Rachel is the biggest threat in the house. Like, she's already won the show. She's already won. And we already know Rachel knows what to do to win. So she's stupid. She would be stupid to think that she wouldn't even be an option. But Mickey was like, I don't think he's that smart. Rachel was like, he's probably smarter than we think that he is. And Mickey's like, yeah, you could be right. She is, but Keanu dibbles and dabbles in stupid and smart. But Rachel says she don't trust him. That's why she wants to play, as you should. We finally get a segment of Vince and Morgan being inappropriate the entire game. So they're laying in the half, well, not they. He's laying in the have-not room, and she's standing there caressing his arm, talking about she's trying to wake him up. And then she starts playing in his hair. I'm like, that girlfriend at home, you better be with some other dude right now because But the funny part about it is Ava comes walking in and was like, what the fuck is going on here? And Morgan's sitting there talking about, I'm trying to wake him up. Yeah, please. And Ava's weirded out by it. She goes in there and gets something and then walks out and then goes to Will and Rachel outside and pretty much tells them about it. And they all sitting there laughing. And Will's like, in his confessional, was like, I love my wife. There's certain shit that you will not and should not do. And I'm like, exactly. And he's like, sometimes I just be wanting to tell him, like, nigga, sit up. He didn't say nigga, but basically, he wanted to. But Rachel's like, I know better than anybody how fast relationships grow in this house, and I want to give them the benefit of the doubt. Rachel knows Rachel trying to keep it PC in the moment, but Rachel knows, like, they basically would fuck if they could. But she knows. Morgan knows who's watching at home, and so does Vince. But the way y'all been moving, y'all might as well shit. Like, she done seen enough. But it's time to pick players for the veto. Ashley is in the shower again. Y'all remember when she was in the shower at the beginning of the season. But Lauren and Kelly, they get picked. Coincidence? Like I told y'all, these veto pickings, it's looking a little suspect. But Rachel, the craziest part about it is when Kelly got picked, Keanu got he picked his chip, so obviously he got to choose who he wanted to play. Rachel and Kelly are volunteering, and he chooses Kelly. Rachel ain't happy about it, obviously. And she was like, Keanu's basically trying to prove something to me at this point, but you chose Kelly. Like, do you not fucking trust me? Obviously he don't, and I wouldn't trust you either. I wouldn't trust you either, but I wouldn't trust Kelly either. But Keanu then goes to Kelly outside, saying, this is the best case scenario. And she was like, okay, well, yeah, the question is, who would you use it on? He looking at her like, I obviously want Vinny to stay. And she's like, yeah, I know. But if I use it on Morgan, I mean, that works good for me. And that's a vote for Vinny to stay. She ain't lying. And Kelly's not wrong to think that way. Yeah, I know you want Vince to stay. But he can stay. We can just take Morgan off the block. And that helps me out with my game. It's helping you out with your game because your boy's still staying. But I also can actually help my own game out by trying to build a connection with Morgan, basically saying, hey, I used the veto on you. Kelly ain't wrong for that. But she then states that I know that, and Keanu was stating that Vinny would always vote in their direction. I'm like, you know good and damn well that is not true. You don't know that to be true because, as you see, you trying to control Vince now, and you can't control him. So who's to say that he and Morgan being off the block, who's to say that they would vote the way that you want them to, off the block together? But Kelly's like, are you sure about that? But Kelly basically is telling us that she ain't trying to take him down after he's burnt her so many times, and she could actually use this as an opportunity to build a relationship with Morgan that she don't already have. Kelly's not stupid. She is stupid, but in this moment, in this episode, she's not. Because she's smart to actually do and think and consider that way. So I would too. But we get a scene of Vince and Keanu. They're pretty much talking about how they got to pull through and win the veto. Vince feels like his game could be saved as long as Mickey and Morgan don't win. But Ashley and Mickey, they're pretty much saying this is the worst case scenario as it is. Like, it's 4 against 2. Or it's 5 against 1 at this point. Because she ain't got no real allies out there playing for her. But Ashley mentions how Keanu had to ask who wants to play. And Rachel raised her hand and he chose Kelly. And Mickey was like, yeah, I mean, I feel like they could end up putting Rachel up. And if she wins it, talking about Mickey, if she wins it, she says she's gonna keep the nominations the same because she knows that she would have the votes against Vince or Morgan. And she would end up losing Rachel as a shield if Rachel ends up going up. And I'm sitting there thinking too, I'm like, would she have the votes against Vince and Morgan? Say she lost the blockbuster and she was still sitting up there. Let me do the votes. Morgan, the ones that would vote Morgan out would be Rachel. So it's Mickey up against Morgan. I don't know. Yeah, I feel like they would vote Morgan out. I feel like Will would vote her out. Ashley would vote her out. I feel like Rachel would vote Morgan out. Versus Kelly. Kelly would vote. I don't know. I don't know. Kelly's up in the air. Obviously, Lauren would vote Morgan out. Am I missing something? Ava would vote. Shit, she would vote. Oh yeah, Vince would go home. I done forgot what I was. Okay, let's keep it. Let's keep it moving. But Rachel, she comes up bringing Keanu a muffin. Because she wants to kind of pretty much like butter him up at this point. And she's asking if they're good. And he was like, yeah, I promise. And then he says, actually, I can't promise. Because the two options that I would have as renoms would be Ava or Ashley. And Rachel's happy to hear that it's not her. But she don't like the fact that Ashley is being considered. And it would make it difficult for her to work with Keanu. Because you better not put her up. That is Rachel's. That's Rachel's little mentee at that point, honestly. And they're super, super close. And she's like, at that point, if you put her up, you're not proving your allegiance to me. Like, if you really want to work with me, you need to protect the people that I want to work with, too. He shouldn't do that. But I'm right there with you, Rachel, because I don't want Ashley going home either. But we get to the veto. It is French style. Ashley starts off hosting it. And in walks in Angela from Big Brother 26. That crazy psycho nut. She cracked me up all last season. Cause she's so unhinged, like unhinged. I think about that scene. What's the girl's name? When she walked in imitating that girl. Angela was a trip, boy. And then how she couldn't stand Matt. Was his name Matt? I couldn't stand him either. So when she was on his head that first week before he went home, loved it. But Angela comes in. She says she's been keeping up with the season. She loves how messy the season is, as we know. You definitely would love it because she was a mess. But Angela takes over the hosting, and it's based off of her charcuterie. Y'all remember last season with the charcuterie with, what's the girl's name? I can't think of her name. Y'all know who I'm talking about. But it's based off of that. The competition is called Charcuterie Protection Agency, CPA. And basically, they have to stack these charcuterie pieces on a board. In order to win, they got to get all 35 pieces stacked up at one time and hit their button. Now, the thing is, every 2 or 5 minutes, Angela got these things that are coming over to knock him off. So repeatedly, it happens to the point where obviously the winner is Morgan. Morgan wins her first competition, period. And Keanu's like, basically, it's not the worst case scenario because Mickey is still a big target and she is still on the block. So he wanted Morgan out, but if you can't get Morgan out, you can get out Mickey. Mickey is happy for Morgan, but she's focused now to get that blockbuster win to make sure she's good. Vince is now mad because he's still on the block, and he's talking about how this is such a terrible move for Keanu and it makes no sense for him in his game. You would know about some shit not making sense for your game and making terrible moves, but he ain't lying because what if Vince do go home? Because that's a number on Keanu's side. But, I mean, you would know. But Ava and Ashley, they know one of them is getting nominated at this point. And then we get a scene of Rachel, Mickey, and Will. They're in the have-not room. And Rachel ends up stating, as long as he doesn't put up me or Ashley, we're going to be good. And Ashley comes walking in, and Ashley was like, I got an idea. Lauren. I said, please. And I'm like, please, I want it to happen. But I love how Rachel is, she always, you see how she always looking out and she's always hanging around with the niggas. That's my girl. But Ashley was like, he would never do that because he's obsessed with her and that would be stupid for him to put up a number on his side. That's what I'm talking about. Ashley got a good read. Ashley, she's smart. She knows the game. And she's right. Like, that would be stupid for him to do it, but shit. Rachel said crazier things have happened in this season. And they're like, yeah, you're right. Because we done seen a lot of people put their allies up. But Rachel then tells us that she don't want Ashley going up. Like, me either. But she said Lauren would come for me. Basically, like, put her up. But Ashley is asking, like, what is your reasoning? And Rachel's like, I mean, that's the only option that we have at this point. Rachel says that she'll make sure to go make him some lasagna. And they start laughing. And she's like, let me cook. Literally, let me cook. I said, go cook, Rachel. So that's what she does. She goes in the kitchen and starts cooking that lasagna for Keanu. And Keanu comes down talking about it smell good. And Rachel's like, yeah, I know. And she tells us too that she knows that he loves lasagna. So she gonna butter him up so she can go pitch her option, her new plan. So she goes and brings him up the food. And he's sitting up there playing chess with Kelly. And she's sitting there. He's eating the food, playing the game. Time goes on and they still playing the game. And Rachel's sitting there irritated because, Rachel got a plan. Rachel ain't trying to sit up here with Kelly. She ain't trying to sit up her. She trying to get her plan working. She trying to get the ball rolling. So eventually they finally finish and she pulls him into the gym. She's checking the vibes, asking what his vibe is. And he's like, obviously, it's Ava or Ashley. And she was like, you put them up. Vince is at a higher risk of going home. I said, do it. And she says, let's play devil's advocate. Which we all know it's not no devil's advocate. It's what Rachel wants. Like, she dead ass. And she's like, what if Lauren goes? Like, do you trust that she will be on your side? And he was like, she won't come for me. She won't. But Rachel says, like, she's easily manipulated and she is indecisive. That is the truth, too. So basically, her pitch is like, you can't really trust that she's really going to have your back because she don't stand on business. Like, that girl can't make a decision for herself at all. She's always scared of making a decision. So who's to say that she wouldn't switch up on you? Valid. So Rachel's like, I don't want Ashley on the block. And that would be ideal for your game. She said that wouldn't be ideal for your game because she wouldn't put you up. And basically stating, like, I have her ear. If I tell her not to put you up, she ain't gonna put you up. And that would also make her upset. So why would you want to make her upset? That's another person against you. And Keanu then tells us that he always considers Rachel's suggestions, but putting Lauren up, that would guarantee an ally going home on his HOH, and I'm not Vince. I said, smart. But Rachel says, I'm not trying to tell you what to do, but do what's best for your game. But Ashley and Keanu, this was hilarious. Ashley plays like how I would. Like, I'm not going to kiss your ass. Like, I'm not going to do that. Even though it might not be the smartest thing to do. I'm not going to kiss your ass. Like, I'll roll the dice at that point. So that's basically what she was doing. And she's like, I know I'm being considered. And he was like, there's not too many people left. Honestly, it's you or Ava, basically. And Ashley tells him, like, simply, it's just not going to fly with me. You put me up, it's not going to fly. And I'm going to take that as a shot. I would too. Shit. And she keeping it real with him. I keep it a buck with him too. And he was like, so if you won HOH, you mean to tell me that if you won HOH, I wouldn't be your fourth nomination? And she was like, maybe. But, like, if you put me up now, you would be. I said, I know that's right. And he was like, so you threatening me? She says, I'm not. I'm just laying out the facts. She keeping it real with you. One thing about Ashley, if you worried about if she telling you the truth or not, you ain't never got to worry because she going to tell you what she feeling. Like, she is. And that is me. That is literally me. But she then states, like, you're basically burning two bridges, too. Like, you're not just burning it with me. You burning it with Rachel. Like, you put me up. I would assume that she would take that as a shot, too, and possibly come your way, too. So Ashley tells us, I'm not backing down from him. Like, he said that he would keep me and Rachel safe, and if he puts me up, me and Rachel gonna come for him. And I'll make sure that the whole house knows that he's a liar. She ain't lying, because she did. But Keanu then states, too, that you're being hostile, which she wasn't. Ashley was talking to him very calmly, not raising her voice. She was just very straightforward. He took it as her being hostile because she was giving him the shit straight. And that's what she said. I'm a straight shooter. I ain't got no reason to lie. I'm telling you exactly how I feel. But Keanu, he goes and tells Vince about how Rachel and company are pretty much not wanting Lauren in jury and want him to put her up to guarantee that Vince is safe. So he then tells him that if he puts her up, it pretty much defeats the purpose of him putting Vince up to begin with, which is true. But Keanu wonders if Morgan would even use the veto on Vince. Vince don't think so. But Keanu then states, like, what if I tell her that I would guarantee that she would be safe by putting Lauren up? Basically, like, you use that veto on Vince, I'm going to put Lauren up to make sure that you don't go home. Which you don't have you don't know that that's true. Like, you basically hoping and praying that that's true. But you playing Big Brother. Like, come on, anything can happen. Vince obviously is eating it up because that means that he will be off the block, which proves that Morgan, he don't give a fuck about your game because he ready to risk your shit. And that would be interesting to see. I would love to see Morgan and Lauren on the block and see where Vince votes. I don't think he would vote to keep Morgan. I think he would keep Lauren. Lauren's an easier person to beat too. But Keanu states that he knows that she would do anything to save Vince, which he ain't lying. and knows that she would feel safer up against Lauren, which he also ain't lying. And he wants her to use the veto, thinking that he's going to put Lauren up, but actually put up Ashley. I said, oh, shit. So Vince obviously likes the idea, but he would be shocked if it works. So we then get a scene of Keanu and Morgan upstairs in the HOH. And he ends up asking her how she would feel if Lauren was put up. And Morgan was like, I mean, I love her because she loves Vince, obviously. But she wants him to stay, so if she goes home, shit, I'm fine with that. That's basically what she stays. So Keanu states that she would go home because nobody wants her in jury. And he was like, I mean, if you take yourself off, it kind of becomes risky at that point. He's kind of nudging her to not do it. Let me go ahead and plan to get you to put Vince up. So she goes, imagine if I take Vinny off, just laughing it off. And he was like, I mean, that's basically what I was about to tell you to do. So he starts pushing that agenda, and Morgan starts telling us that she would feel comfortable being on the block against Lauren. I said, that's where you go wrong. You always feeling too comfortable. And when you start feeling comfortable in this game, you're going to go home. Like, and she was like, I mean, I would have the 4 judges keeping me safe. I'm like, yeah, to an extent, but like, who's to say something wouldn't change? That's just stupid. You never gamble with your game in this game. Like, it's crazy. But she tells him that she would consider it. I said, you dummy. But they see Vince on the camera. She goes and calls him up. Keanu in his confession, in his DR, is completely floored that she's even considering it, as we all are. But obviously he's excited about it. But Morgan runs Vince through the plan, not knowing that Vince already knows what she's talking about. And he's playing it off like he don't really know what's going on. But the fact that she's even considering it, crazy. But Rachel, Morgan, and Vince, they're in the HOH room. And she's pretty much running that by Rachel and states, like, I don't want to say something stupid, but you've won Big Brother before. Would it be stupid if I don't use the veto on myself? Duh. Yeah. Rachel looked at her like, yeah, dummy. But like, it would make good TV if you do it. And she was like, but if you do it, you have to guarantee that Keanu's going to put somebody up that will go home. And there's no way you can guarantee that. But Vince, he then states that he swears, talking about Keanu, swears that he will put Lauren up. I said, Vince, you really don't give a fuck about Morgan. Morgan cares so much about his game. But he's sitting here basically knowing that he would not put Lauren up. Which, if Ashley is up against Morgan, Morgan is going home. Vince don't care about that. Vince only cares about Vince's game. But Morgan says she was considering it. Well, she says that Keanu was considering putting Lauren up, but it's not guaranteed. She's starting to finally realize, okay, I'm playing stupid. And she was like, I mean, technically, I am his target and was his target. So if I'm staying on the block, it don't make sense for him to change his target. Duh. But Keanu then joins them, and Morgan's now pretty much backing out of it. And Rachel ends up asking Keanu, what are you thinking? So he was going over his options, since I've basically been going over my options. And Rachel says if you put Ashley up, she's staying, and Vince is going home. Vince is standing right there too. And Rachel says, like, what if there's another option, and it cannot leave this room, and you know what that other option is? And he was like, Keanu. And Rachel's like, so Keanu, not Keanu, Ava. Keanu says Ava. And he then states that's a lateral move for me, basically, because I have a better relationship with her than I do with Ashley. Y'all, I got dry mouth right now. That's why I got cotton mouth for real. But Rachel, she then tells us she adores Ava, but she's closer to Ashley, and she needs to make sure that she doesn't hit that block. So Keanu then asks Rachel if she would target him if he puts up Ashley. And she goes, I guess you just gonna have to find out. I said, see, this is why I love Rachel. She basically said, fuck around and find out and see what the fuck gonna happen. So Morgan and Vince, they end up asking, like, should we leave? And then they end up leaving because Rachel basically said, fuck around and find out. They don't want to fuck around and find out. But Keanu then states that I warned you that she would be considered. He did. Rachel then says, I'm obviously not gonna be okay with that. Obviously. And Keanu states, I mean, I don't understand how that would affect mine and your relationship. Why would it not? You got Vince in this house, who is essentially the one that you want to be your number one, while trying to make a number one with Rachel. Rachel not having her number one, which would be Ashley, because that's who you want to go home. That would not be good for her game, which is going to affect your game because you sent her number one, her other number one, home. So, duh, like, you know what's going on. So she's like, I mean, you're the one who's won Big Brother. You played 3 times, so I guess you're right. Basically playing in his face, like, you need to be listening to me. I know how to win. And he was like, I mean, I guess it is what it is at this point. But he then states that that if she gonna tell him, he tells us this. If she basically gonna tell me to fuck around and find out, shit, that's 2 of my favorite things. I want to fuck around and find out. I said, okay, you about to fuck around and find out. So we get to the veto. Morgan obviously removes herself off the block, and he puts up Ashley. And Ashley gets up and she said, congrats. You've been trying to get me out for 7 weeks. I wrote this shit down verbatim because Ashley ate him up. She said, you've been waiting 7 weeks to get me up, and you finally succeeded. Like, congratulations. And congrats on giving up the Tarzan act. You finally got some shoes on. You got some shoes on the feet. I was like, so she said, somehow, even though you got some shoes on your feet, somehow your foot is still in your mouth. She was like, Thursday, you said I was safe for the week. Rachel's sitting there eating it up because this is some Rachel shit. And she was like, it's no surprise. This is Ashley talking. It's no surprise that you're the biggest liar in this house. And, I mean, you think that you're a mastermind. You put your own ally on the block. He might go home on your HOA. She ain't lying. And she said, you'll see your face on the wall next week, too. Like, come on. So he ends up asking her, please sit down, because she's going and going and going and going. And he's like, are you done yet? Rachel says, don't talk to her like that. I said, that's my duo. I love them together because they always go on the bat for each other. But he ends up asking if Ashley is done. Ashley says, I'm done when I say I'm done. I said, that's right. And she said, don't talk to me like that. She said, you're the biggest narcissist in this house, talking to women like they crazy, and now I'm done. So he then states that I never said that you were safe for a week. She says you did, and you said it to Rachel. Didn't he say that to you, Rachel? Rachel says he did. I said, okay. And Keanu said, so Rachel, I basically told you that she was safe for the whole week and didn't tell you that she was a possible nomination. He ain't lying because he definitely told her that because Rachel couldn't even respond. Rachel just looked up. So he starts laughing. And Ashley was like, you forget that this is a social game too. You can't just win your way to the end. She ain't lying. Because you can win to the end, but if you get to the end and you don't have people that want to vote for you, and the vote is largely due to social game. You got people like Kelly in there. You snake her. She ain't thinking about the fact that you played a good game. She gonna be bitter. Like, you want to have people in that jury that want to vote for you to win that money. Like, they want to vote for you to win. Keanu, you can't burn too many bridges, so you burning her, so you done pissed her off. But Keanu stays nice, Rachel, and sits down. Cinema, such a good episode. Tomorrow's gonna be interesting because we got Ashley, Vince, and Mickey on the block. 3 key players in this season. Like, if I'm thinking about key players, we got a lot of key players actually still left. Like, I feel like the only ones that's not a key player is fucking Lauren. Like, Keanu's a big player, Rachel's a big player, Mickey's a big player, Ashley, Will, Ava, those are big personality players. Vince is a terrible player, but he's definitely a focal point. Morgan, same thing. Lauren is background. But yeah, we got a good, this is about to get real interesting because we got somebody going home. So one of them 3 is not going to be in the jury, which I hate because I feel like those 3 should be in the jury. I don't know what's going to happen. I'm actually nervous for tomorrow. But y'all be here. Y'all know what time. Y'all know when to be here. So turn the post notifications on if you haven't already. Thumbs up the video. Drop y'all's comments. Share the video. Subscribe if you're new. And I will see y'all tomorrow. Peace.